Okay, Piers Morgan, Dave Rubin, and Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks are going to help us discover and analyze and display the exact problem with the cancer known as politics. And it's very, very simple. There's one linchpin that holds political deception together. There's the same linchpin that holds war together and money creation and wrecking and ruining economies and bolstering the drug war and the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex. And yet nobody puts their finger on the problem because they are probably tired of talking about it from long ago. So now they've dropped it. And anytime you try to bring it up, and guess what that linchpin is that nobody wants to talk about? Anytime you bring it up, you're a conspiracy theorist or you're automatically discounted right out of the gate. Listen to this.
That's what us disruptors are doing. He really does want to drain the swamp. And when you begin to drain it, well, all of those creatures start showing their teeth and hissing and wailing and snapping at you.
And of course, she is talking about Donald Trump draining the swamp. You can't drain the swamp when you are a swamp thing in the process of filling the swamp. When you have a long history, when you have 4 years as the president of the United States, as the ruler of the free world to drain the swamp, and you filled it with worse swamp things than Obama had in there.
And I think it's time now to drain it once and for all.
It's not going to happen. It didn't happen the first time. What makes you think it's going to happen the second time? You are a fool to think it will happen the second time.
Popular wisdom is that politics has never been so bitterly divided, but scratched beneath the surface of our every...
Politics is division. Politics has never been so bitterly divided. You've got to be kidding me. That is what politics is. That is the objective of politics, to demoralize, dehumanize, and divide all of us. Divide and conquer is a real thing. It's a real strategy. It's how you take down nations. So the banking elite, I just gave away the linchpin, so the banking elite and the corporate elitists can have their way with the rest of us as we're involved in the stupid Team Red, Team Blue, elephant versus donkey nonsense.
Everyday outrage, wash away the red and blue tribal paint, and there's a more interesting picture.
Red and blue tribal paint, you say? If you're involved in politics, if you're buying one side or the other, you are wearing the tribal paint and you're playing along just like the puppet masters want you to play along. But as soon as you unplug and you can look at it for what it really is, now you can make real fundamental changes. But that's not going to happen as long as you continue to take off your shirt and slather your body with the tribal paint.
President Trump has demolished the traditional divide of right and left. A classic liberal believes in free speech, free markets, and the freedom of individuals under the rule of law. A classic lefty.
Whose rules and whose laws? I mean, you just canceled out everything you just said, Piers. Free speech, free markets, rule of law. Well, who gets to make those laws? What if you don't agree with those laws? What if most of the laws, like the drug war laws and the traffic laws and the prison industrial complex laws and the tax laws, what if they're all stacked against the people? What if the majority of the people disagree with those laws? What if you can demonstrate and show that those laws initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong? What if you can do that? What if you can demonstrate it? Shouldn't we decouple from that, expose it for what it really is, and just flush it down the toilet?
He is anti-war and highly suspicious of institutions. They support homegrown manufacturing jobs and the working class. Above all, they're very good at selling a vision of how things could be better for everyone. Right now, that all sounds a lot like, well, MAGA. Voters clearly agree.
You mean MAGA, not make America great again, make Israel great again, because that's who the cabinet is being stacked with. Not just Israel sympathizers, but Zio sympathizers. There's a specific ideology every single one of these people has.
Black voters, Latino voters, young voters, working class voters, and voters with no college degree have all flocked to the big red tent.
See, now, did you see what Piers just did there? And it's very important to understand this, because this is what politicians do. This is what followers of politicians do. This is what the left and right pundits do, is they put you into a class called voter. Well, guess what? The voting class is the subject class. We're talking about being in subjection to the people who rule over us. You know, those people who make the rules, who make the rule of law, who tell you you need to submit, whether that rule and that law is righteous or not. So they've subjugated you with a certain class certification and signatory. They're basically telling you you are a voter. Aren't you just a human being? I mean, specifically in this country, an American voter? Really? Okay. Stay on the plantation then.
Well, let's bring in my other panel members, because some of them are definitely going on a very interesting journey, including new MAGA enthusiast Cenk Uygur. I said that deliberately to wind him up.
MAGA.
The host and founder of the Young Turks. Libertarian Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem. Lindy Lee, the DNC Finance Committee member and advisor, and former woke activist turned YouTuber Amala Ekpunobi. Well, welcome to all of you. So, Cenk, I mean, many people saying if you carry on down the road you're going in the last few weeks, you will be a fully fledged member of MAGA before we know it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that. I'm not like Dave Rubin, a giant sellout fraud who changed all of his positions and is totally useless and it shouldn't even be on here. He's just a waste of space.
Wow. Really? After all Dave said about coming together?
Yeah. Yeah, no, got no interest in coming together with utter frauds like Dave Rubin. So, brother, you telling me that when you were on the Young Turks, you were Mr. Progressive and you agreed with us 100%. Now, all of a sudden, you agree with Trump 100%. You're not saying something nuanced like we are. Hey, you know, when the guy gets shot at and he puts his fist up, that's courageous. When he does the McDonald's photo op and it works fine, no.
When he gets shot at, so what is Cenk Uygur pushing here? It's a miracle. It's a beautiful ear. It's a fantastic ear. It's a rapidly healing ear. Yeah, we believe all of that official story coming out of Pennsylvania.
Problem, right? If he wants to cut the Pentagon, great. Those are progressive positions. Anti-corruption, progressive position. Anti-war, progressive position. But you change all of your ideology overnight and you expect us to believe that that's real? I don't think it's real at all. And I want an apology from you for all the crazy, outrageous lies that you told about the Young Turks. When is that going to happen, huh?
So now what we got is ad hominem attacks being launched against Dave Rubin from Cenk Uygur. Very shallow, by the way. Everything in this show is shallow because they will not put the axe at the real root cause of what is going on. The political divide, the wars, the warmongering, the incessant division that's going on in America. They will not put the axe at the root of the tree. And that the axe is the linchpin, and the linchpin is the Federal Reserve, the central banking elite, the corporate interests.
Wow. And when are you going to admit that you changed all your positions for money? Okay. Well, what position do you still have that's in any way a so-called classic liberal, you fraud?
Dave?
Piers, it's barely worth responding to this ridiculous buffoon who's the joke of the industry. I will say this, Cenk, I haven't spoken to you in 10 years.
Even right-wingers think that you're a total fraud.
I don't think he's a fraud or a joke. I think Dave Rubin is, for what it's worth, I think Dave Rubin is one of the most influential and significant voices out there right now. And I admire his honesty about the journey he's been on, Cenk.
Piers, I appreciate that, but you know the thing is, what Cenk just proved is exactly what everyone in America, and I would say all over the world, is getting over. Nobody wants what he just offered up there. Not only does no one believe it, and he had it prepackaged and ready to go, and it's complete drivel. Yes, I sold out. It's so nonsensical. Again, Cenk, I'll gladly send you a signed copy of the book and you can read all of my thoughts. And if you're anti-corruption and you're anti-war, you should be on the Trump train. But you're endless.
If you're anti-corruption and anti-war, you should be on the Trump train. Let me just remind you, Obama, every day of his presidency, dropped 39 bombs a day. Trump, during his presidency, 46 bombs a day. Even though he didn't technically declare an article of war and start a new war, he was still dropping bombs. Defense contractor artillery was still being spent under Trump. He knew it was happening. Obama knew it was happening. They are all warmongers. And if you're a warmonger, you can't be for the free market. You can't be for freedom. You are for wealth redistribution, Democrat or Republican, conservative, liberal, progressive, it doesn't matter. You are for a massive wealth redistribution program, which is inherently immoral.
This hatred, the division that you sow, calling everyone racist and white supremacist, all of that stuff, it's why you're not respected. But I don't mean to get into the personal side of that. I'm talking about now something that culturally has shifted, and everyone can see the grift that you're up to, trying to sort of dance with the thing. But it's just not necessary, and I don't think that many people will buy it.
Well, Cenk, let me put to you, Cenk, something that Laura. Hang on, Cenk. Cenk, hang on. I'm gonna read you something just to see your reaction. But Laura Loomer called you out on X, as you know, and she said this: "You are the radical left, Cenk."
Laura Loomer, another MIGA. Make Isra HE double hockey sticks great again.
You're a con artist and an opportunistic
Laura Loomer calling anybody a con artist.
Grifter who's gotten rich off demonizing President Trump, calling his supporters fascists and Nazis, promoting open borders, glorifying Hamas, and pushing conspiracy theories about Trump for 9 years. If you want forgiveness, Let
me just read the rest of it. I don't know if there's going to be copyright on this. If you want forgiveness, get on your filthy knees and pray to Allah, because you aren't welcome on the right. Now, there you go. There is the core of politics. It's inherently divisive. If there's going to be unity, it's got to be unity on the truth as it calls out and exposes the central banking cartel. And yet you have Laura Loomer and Cenk Uygur, who are continually creating and fostering and driving deeper the wedge issues that makes politics what it is. And you aren't ever going to find a redemption arc no matter how hard you pander. You don't do real news. Calling Trump Hitler and glorifying Hamas cartoon characters that radicalize kids to support killing Jews isn't real news.
I'm going to keep calling you out every time you try to move an inch closer to many on the right, because you're too dense and too dumb, because they're too dense and too dumb to decode your subversion, but I'm not. So, look, there are lots of people on the right who think that you're on some great move here to, as she puts it, wiggle your way into the middle and over to the right, so you can then poison MAGA with your, as she puts it, subhuman political takes. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, so look, this is, people like Laura Loomer and Dave Rubin are the exact problem.
By the way, is there a political take that is not subhuman?
And I think actually somebody else on this panel was part of the solution. That's Dave Smith. And I want to come back to that in a second. So when you have people like Dave Rubin switch all of their positions, what happens is when you go to do nuance and you say, hey guys, hold on, let me explain. Hold on. Yeah. Hey, go pleasure Trump again. Go pleasure Trump again.
Do you know that
he goes from Bernie to Trump and pretends. Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
I tell people what I believe in.
What do you believe in? You believed in something yesterday. You don't believe in anything today.
Yeah, what position? What position do you think I hold that I don't honestly believe?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
Can I answer the question? Can I answer Trump?
That is actually a good point. If you believe that somebody doesn't honestly hold an ideology in their minds, how are you going to prove that? How the heck are you ever? Why even talk about that? That's why this is pretty surface, pretty low IQ stuff if you want to go there. But when you start assuming motives or assuming somebody doesn't believe something that they say they believe, you can't prove that. Why even go there? This just completely invalidates any kind of argument you could ever have.
Yeah, what position do I say that I believe that I don't really believe? Go ahead,
brother. You went on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. You went on Tucker Carlson on Fox News and said gay people, that the fact that the fire department was recruiting gay people was why there was forest fires. You're a national embarrassment.
Fool. So we've got real issues, and Cenk Uygur decides to talk about this. We've got real money devaluation issues. We've got Saudi Arabia willing to work with Russia and China for the M-Bridge, CBDC, and this is what Cenk Uygur tries to talk about. They're trying to move away from the dollar as the reserve currency, which will economically ruin everybody, no matter who you are. And this is what Cenk Uygur and Dave Rubin decided to talk about on a nationally syndicated program. This thing's, every time Piers Morgan's team launches a video on YouTube, it gets 500,000 views in a couple hours. This is what they decide to talk about.
Okay,
right, if anyone
you pleasure those guys for a living.
You can pull up the clip tomorrow if you want.
Okay,
I was talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That you shouldn't hire people based on their genitals or their sexual orientation, and we now all know that. You have been one of the prime pushers of all of this neo-racism. I believe in meritocracy. That whether you're going to be a doctor or a firefighter or a basketball player or anything else, you should be hired on your qualifications, not your genitals or sexual orientation.
And that should go without saying. It shouldn't even be in the realm of politics at all. That's just common sense. If you want the job, then you have to prove that you deserve the job. It doesn't go to you because of the color of your skin. It doesn't go to you because of your sexual orientation. It goes to you because you've earned it. You deserve to be that accountant or basketball player or, the fry cook at the lunch counter. You got that position because you deserved it, because in our review of the applications, nobody was better than you. And we don't care if you're male, female, gay, straight. It doesn't matter to us. You can do the job. Meritocracy is where it's at, and that's just common sense.
Or skin color.
Yeah.
That's actually America. So
question?
You can keep trying here.
When this country desperately needs to unite against the establishment on things we all agree on.
And what is the establishment? And why, Cenk Uygur, do you push the establishment? You push the establishment. Hillary Clinton, you and Anna Kasparian and the Young Turks, you pushed the establishment in Hillary Clinton in 2016, even after what Hillary Clinton did to the Bernie Sanders campaign. In 2024, you pushed the establishment in that you wanted Harris to win. All of you Democrat leftist propagandists are pushing the establishment, just like the rightists are pushing the establishment. And when you say you're against it, you're like the lion with no teeth.
So things like all the populists hate corruption. All the populists hate war. By the way, Dave doesn't. Dave will demand that we start every war for Israel and pay for all of Israel's war. So he's been establishment on that all along. But when you go to say, hey, can we get an agreement on things that we agree on? The left pushes back because they're so afraid. They got traumatized by the Dave Rubins in the world. They're like, oh, if you take one step, not even in their direction, if you allow the right wing to take a step in our direction, they're worried that you're going to be a fraud like Dave Rubin and change all of your positions overnight. So my friends on the left, do not get scarred by this fraud of a man. All right, Jeffrey Katzenberg is a good guy, but he's in favor of Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. I was against all three. What part?
That is not true. That is not true. In the 2016 campaign, in the 2020 campaign, and in the 2024 campaign, Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks were decidedly against Donald Trump and for the other team owners from the DNC. DNC and RNC are two wings of the same bird and are owned by the same corporate owners. And Cenk Uygur pushes them every single time while he says he's against the establishment. It's disgusting.
Part of that is unclear. So look, Piers, there's three
hang on. Hang on.
Politics for a second.
Cenk, here's my point. The point Dave Rubin is making is, why shouldn't he be allowed to go on an evolution of his views? And why does that mean that right now you can say to him, as you did, you don't believe anything you're saying or believe now, when actually it's completely possible that he 100% believes everything he now says?
And that's a fair statement. That is a fair statement.
Because he's changed his mind. Why can't he do that? And why don't you believe him?
I think that the left is scarred by people like Dave Rubin, who had a complete change. For example,
so here's Cenk Uygur speaking on behalf of other people instead of bringing forth objective evidence of his assertions.
Example, Tulsi Gabbard goes from total progressive to total right-winger. On the other hand, RFK Jr. didn't go to a total right-winger. He still believes the things that he believes about the environment, about housing, about corruption, etc.
So Cenk Uygur can say what RFK believes as he says what Dave Rubin doesn't believe. So he's the arbiter of who actually believes things or doesn't believe things. Cenk, come on.
So you have to be able to distinguish between the people who are doing it professionally, as I hate the word grift, but whatever it is that you want to call it, and the people who have genuine disagreements and genuine nuance in their opinions. So for example, guys, there's three different branches of each party. There is the radical right, radical left, there's the populist left and populist right, and then there's the establishment of both parties. I despise the establishment with every fiber of my being. And I've been doing that same exact program for over 22 years, longest running show on the internet.
So within the entire toilet of corruption that is in the RNC and DNC, here's Cenk Uygur picking up the turd saying, this turd right here is extreme right. This turd right here is extreme left. This turd right here is progressive. But everything he pulls out of the toilet is a turd. Anything that has to do with the corporate corruption is corrupt. It is a turd.
History. And we've never wavered on that. But now the radical left, unfortunately, is doing
radical. It's the radical left. It's the radical right. And never mind the fact that all of politics is deceptive. All of politics is corrupt. All of politics is divisive.
Doing what you're worried about, Piers, that the minute that they see anything where you say, I agree with the right, when they agree with us on something like anti-war, they go, oh my God, hold on, let me finish the thought. Let me finish the thought. And what people then say is, oh no, he's going to pull a Dave Rubin because these guys get paid to go fully right-wing and then they'll throw their own people under the bus. So they'll pick a gay guy like Dave to throw gay people under the bus. If you see me going after Muslims, if you see me going after people that I've always supported, then you have an issue. But part of the, and this is not a pivot, guys. We've been fighting the radical left for 2 straight years now because they say absurd things like, hey, if the right wing agrees with us, we shouldn't do it anyway.
That's why you go against the radical left? Because they say that. It's not because they're in the back pocket of the Zio International bankers, just like the right is. They're funded by the cheap, easy credit system, the dishonest fiat currency Ponzi scheme coming out of the Federal Reserve. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about getting the poison out of the pool before you drink the water. Not going to talk about that, Cenk.
We had somebody leave the network because they said, everyone on the right wing is racist. If you agree with the right wing in anything, even if it's things that we agree on, that makes you racist and it hurts black bodies.
All right.
See, that's absurd.
Yeah.
That right there is how shallow this whole thing is. And this right here is what is popular. This is what gets views. This is what generates clicks. This is what gets premium ad revenue. Think about that. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought, please, in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you haven't done so already, you got to see the last video that I just produced. It's called A Very, Very Bad Abe Lincoln. It's an Abe Lincoln you were not taught in the public fool system. I will see you in the next video.